Salix Matsudana tortuosa, also known as the curly willow, corkscrew willow, or dragon's claw willow. It is a willow tree that can live between 30 to 50 years old. It grows at a height of 30 feet to 40 feet tall with a very fast growth rate. This curly willow right here is about 7 years old. They're native to Asia, and some of the issues with them is that their roots will actually grow close to the surface of the ground, and they're very powerful. So you don't want to plant them near buildings, well, any type of foundation, near driveways. You don't want to plant them in septic fields, anything like that, where they can actually go through and destroy things. Another issue with these is that branches will randomly die. At one point, this was the leader of this tree, which died off. Luckily for me, this became the next main leader right here and took off and is doing good. But at any given time, a branch may die. Shy Guy came to say hello during this video. So just this year, I actually had this branch right here die. So that one I'm going to end up having to take off now because of that. So that is a tough thing with using these trees for bonsai. You might have a great shape going amongst your, well, on your project that you're building, and next thing you know, what you thought you were using is now dead and you have to start all over. But the positive to that is they grow so fast that you will be guaranteed to have a replacement leader within the next year or so. So to be a bit warmer, I moved down to another one of my curly willows over here. As you can see behind me, this one is not thriving as well as the other one. They can be planted in damp locations, but these two are actually planted up at pretty much the peak of my property. My property slopes down as a hill on both sides, and they're still growing well, even with the not having as much water as they would have as if they were in the wetlands. But the reason for this one not growing as well is because it ended up getting the scale infestation, and that actually slowed down the growth drastically because of that. So now to go over some other stuff. It's weird because normally I'm reading off my list, but since I'm just doing this as a live video this week, I am going to be reading to you as I'm doing this. Don't worry, there will also be pictures of cool curly willows, dragon willows, corkscrew willows that I do not actually have or own. But a common use for the tree is it's an ornamental or focal point in your yard. It's a really pretty tree. It's pretty in the spring and summertime when you have the nice leaves on it, but even in the fall, I mean, we're out in the fall and just the branches look so cool with all the different curls everywhere. It can also be used as a privacy fence if you grow multiples of them beside each other. In the fall, as you can see right through it, so it blocks a little bit but not a lot. But when the leaves are on in the summertime, it is an absolute wall. So we spoke earlier about the scale infestation that this tree had. Other issues that it has with pests are aphids, borers, gypsum moths, willow beetles. That's just some of them that will attack it. This one's actually had a problem down through the bark down here, and I'm not sure if it's from all just the twisting and the massive wind just beating this thing up non-stop that's caused all these issues, but it's growing a new bark layer underneath where the old one actually peeled off and has died. So now we have a new bark that is coming in, and hopefully everything goes well and it fills in later. So now I'm going to drop some photos in for you. First thing that we'll drop in is going to be the golden curls. I actually have a cutting that I'm working on growing right now that I ordered online for a golden curl, and that one's got, so that one on the branches are like a real pretty yellow or golden color, and that's one of the big things that people go with there for that. The other one is a scarlet curls. Now that one I haven't come across yet, but after looking into it, that would be a really cool one to get. So that one has golden twigs like the golden curls, but then they turn scarlet red in the winter time, which is super awesome. We're going to take a little walk here because, as I was saying, with how they grow great in, well, just how they can refill their branches really well and everything, they also grow very, very well from cuttings. I've taken them and I've tried all the different methods that they recommend. I've taken them and put them in water. So with your willows, you don't actually need a rooting hormone because they have their own natural rooting hormone. So when I'm growing things, well, when I'm trying to grow cuttings and stuff, I'll actually keep a water jug with willow cuttings in it so that the rooting hormone that gets secreted from the willow can then be used to water my other cuttings that I'm trying to grow. So that's one way I try to get around it a little bit. So we were talking about cuttings, and the cuttings can grow amazing. So we'll just go and I'll trim up my curly willow, and then I've literally just, you're going to be amazed by this, but because this is blocked from like the cold and the wind, these curly willows actually still have leaves on them. But right here, these are all just random branches I trimmed off. And there's a Shy Guy tail. Those were all branches I trimmed off and literally just stabbed straight into the ground. That's it. And they all took off. Not any special soil, nothing. That's literally just the clay soil that is around our property. That's all they're put into. Then if we come over here a little ways, nope, sorry, I almost took you off track. Those are just regular willows, not curly willow. I was going to show you my one willow bonsai tree, but that one doesn't count because it's a willow, not a curly willow. But I will have pictures added in here of some curly willow bonsai trees. But for a moment here, let's take a look at this big old trunked one. So that one was grown, not grown, I actually air layered that and got a nice root system off of it, as well as this littler one right in here. And then those I'm actually going to give to my mom because she wanted some willows for her property. So that's what's going to happen with those two curly willows. Then I have a whole bunch of other willow, the golden willow, curly willow, all of those ready to go. And hopefully they all come back next year and we have some new ones. So now let's take a few minutes and listen to some music, and we will look at some willow tree bonsai, curly willow bonsai. All right, so to wrap this video up here, let's just touch on a few thoughts on using a curly willow as a bonsai tree. I would definitely do it. I would definitely do it because it has a cool look in summer. It has a cool look in fall. It has a cool look in winter and spring. So just because it's unique looks, I would use it as a bonsai tree. But remember that if you choose to use it as a bonsai tree, do not feel overcommitted to certain branches because you never know when they're going to die. So always be ready to adjust and change the tree as it wants to change itself. For the soil, I've found that you can either keep it as a wet soil or a dry soil. So if you're to water it just on a normal basis like with the rest of your bonsai trees, then you should be all right. As far as pests go, we can't really count that against it for a bonsai tree because all trees have pests, and it's something we're gonna have to deal with no matter what. So that is not something I would hold against it. The only thing I truly would hold against it is the fact that the branches will randomly die off on you. That would be it for me. I mean, you can wire them, but when you wire it up, keep a very close eye on your wire. I've had wire bite into my branches. Now this is on just a regular willow, not a curly willow, but I've had wire bite into my branches in 3 weeks. But that was probably because I wired spring into summer and not into winter when the branch wasn't growing. So that was my fault, not the tree. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, share my video. Both of those things would greatly help me out, and I would appreciate it. If you do really enjoy my videos, go ahead and hit the bell notification so you can be notified every time I release a new video. Thank you.